record.
And record. We're recording.
Hey, I can see it.
Yeah. So welcome to all the replay viewers and to anyone who's going to be hopping on here live. So we're going to just introduce ourselves and then get into the thick of things. So my name is Kathy Lacey, and I just want to say if you find yourself here or watching the replay, my heart is open to you. I feel you, and I hope that something that you hear today resonates with you and helps you on your grieving process, your healing journey. And that's my hope for you. Kim?
Yeah, that's the same reason I'm here. I'm not, typically I say, because I'm always talking about being an animal naturopath, but today I am someone who has lost a sibling, and recently, very recently, and in a very difficult manner, just as you did, as you have. And so my hope is to share what I'm using for my own hope, for my own healing, and for to go forward into life, and the mindset that I've chosen to do.
Absolutely. So, of course, today we are talking about sibling grief being a unique journey for all of us. And it is unique, but what we have in common is the loss of our siblings. And so what Kim and I are sharing today is just our stories and what we have found that has helped us shift. And, some of you listening may be ready to make that shift. And so you may hear things very clearly and resonate with what we're saying. And others of you may not be there yet. And I just want you to know that that's completely okay, that there is no right or wrong way of grieving. There's no time frame. It is what it is for each of us individually. We're just sharing what worked for us. And if that helps you in any way, then we've done our purpose here. We've done his purpose here. And so like Kim was saying, that it was fresh for her. And I just want to thank you, Kim, for coming on here, because I know it is so fresh and raw for you. And so what happened? Can you tell us about what happened?
Yeah, I don't know if you guys can see, I don't have a light on in here, so
it's pretty good.
Okay. And the actual date was March 17th. Today is April 24th. So it's just been, 5 weeks. And we got the news on March 17th, I should say. And that's the day that they designated as the day that my sister died. Although I believe just that it was a couple of days sooner. It's when she was found, quite frankly. And I have, I know one of my brothers, I have 4 brothers, and I had this one sister. And the thing is that both a brother and I, both are kind of like what you would designate as somebody that you might call an empath to a degree. And I felt immense pain in my body on Sunday and Monday that I never feel. Just incredible. I thought, I'm running too much because I do run daily and exercise. You know me, I'm always doing Pilates and weightlifting, running, and so I thought, I just need a break. And it was just horrible pain. And my brother had the same thing. And he's in a completely other state, in Hawaii actually. And then by Tuesday night, we both, which was the 15th, had dissipated for us. So I feel in my heart that's when she died. But my sister chose to end her own life. And she was 2 years younger than me, not quite 2 years younger. And when I got the call, because I saw my brothers were calling me, I thought they never do that the same day in the same time frame. So I was thinking it was my mom, who is elderly and obviously, because I am. And she's been unwell, and so I immediately just assumed in my mind that it was her, and my brother had to yell at me to tell me that it was my sister and that she had committed suicide. And the sad part about it was the brother who 18 months prior, his son had done the same thing. So within an 18-month period with my nephew and then my sister. And it was devastating to me. I'm the oldest of the six, and then her, and we were really close as kids. But life has a way of, getting in the way, and there's baggage and there's stuff. And I knew she was troubled. I knew she had problems, but it was like she and I were very polar opposite in everything, in our attitudes and our outlook and our approach to life, everything. But we were still sisters, and I loved her. I didn't always like her, and she didn't always like me, and I guess there's that whole thing of the guilt that comes in, the guilt that I coulda, woulda, shoulda. And one of my brothers did the eulogy. It seems like we're always designated to do the eulogies, he and I. And we both talked about my brother. He's the one that always he will have everybody look at the elephant that's in the room, show them that's the elephant, then he dispatches the elephant. So it's hardcore, and forced everybody to look at it and not evade the issues, but also to say we all are thinking coulda, woulda, shoulda. We always do in hindsight, and hindsight's always 20/20. So I had to get through that, and the way I dealt with it when I spoke was, and I'll share with you guys a poem here. And I think, Kathy, you were the one who gave me the poem, if I'm not mistaken. I'm pretty sure you did, because you had gone through this yourself, and you sent flowers to the funeral home, and I was so blessed by that. It was, and not knowing all the people that around me that have gone through similar, because it's always an unspoken kind of a quiet, I don't want everyone to know, there's some shame attached and so forth. And all of, even though my sister planned this and she left notes and instructions and everything, it was, I don't know how to explain. It was like my mom always says, she was unhappy her entire life. And we don't know why. And I think all of us will ask that question, don't you? Yeah. Why? Because everybody has pain and sorrow and loss. We all go through valleys. You can't experience mountaintops without valleys. Some of us have some extreme pain and issues and emotional issues, and yet we don't choose that option. And so I'm going to always question and ask why, and what could I have done differently? But the fact remains that it was her choice, and it was her decision to do that. So I have to put my eyes on so I can read this to you. And Kathy, I'm sure you're the one who sent me this. It's by Glenn Flowers. And I said this at the beginning of the eulogy, and I hope this is how I've chosen to look at this. I had my own notion of grief, and I thought it was the sad time that followed the death of someone you love. You had to push through it to get to the other side. But I'm learning there is no other side. There is no pushing through, but rather there is absorption, adjustment, and acceptance. And grief is not something you complete, but rather you endure. And grief is not a task to finish and move on, but an element of yourself, an alteration of your being, a new way of seeing, a new definition of self. And what I came away with from that was that this is the new me. And what am I going to do with that? Am I going to forgive her? Because she did leave some really awful things in the wake of that. And we're survivors, is the way I see it. And I wanted to go through my life because she chose to spend so much time dying. I wanted to spend the rest of my days really living and helping others and sharing with others and encouraging others and motivating others, and I even hope inspiring others. And in the process, it's helped me. But I went through some there wasn't a day I didn't wake up that I wasn't crying all day. And this is the first couple of weeks, and I know you can relate to that, Kathy. But as it progressed, within those first couple of weeks and people found out, you sent your flowers I was looking at all the flowers at the funeral and trying to get my mind around, how am I going to even get up here and speak? I can't imagine how I can speak. All those memories from our childhood and all those things that we did together. And I was able to share a lot of those that helped people remember the good stuff. And that's what I wanted to do. But I was struggling with, how can I do that when I can't even grasp the fact that she chose this? and left us. And fortunately, as we're going to talk about, I will share some of the stuff later, what I did have done and has really, really helped me. But I think even just being there with the people and speaking about it and having to really force myself to remember the good times, all the things that she and I did together as kids. And I was one that, being the older one, I would always say, I really want to try that, but I think I'll dare her first because there may be injury involved and I'll allow her. And she would take the dare because she wanted to prove herself to her big sister, right? And so she would take the dare, and oftentimes she got injured as a result. And so, I look at all of that, and I want to integrate all of that to who I am now and embrace that and not hold on to unforgiveness. And if I may, Kathy, I just want to share a little bit what I shared with you earlier about I've gone through, because my faith, and I'm praying and I'm focused on that. And this thing on forgiveness comes up. I've had even some relational issues with friends, not you, but with others. And this article came up. Just this little. I have all these notes on the back side that I'm praying, and I said, "What's on the other side of this? Why am I?" Because I write on everything. Yeah, my notes are very scattered, and I have notepads and notes everywhere. Yeah, and I never know where to find anything. I'm not organized that way. I feel sorry for anyone who would ever have to go through my files and figure out what was she thinking. I don't know. On that day, I was thinking this way, and on that day, I'm thinking another way. So This is helping me. But this really struck me by Henry Wright, and he said, if the Bible says it's possible to live peaceably with all men, and one of the enemy's strategies for stealing our peace, making life ineffective and miserable, is to take us out of relationship with other people and isolate us. I know my sister fell into that. And I have. He doesn't always do this in obvious ways, but if he can get us to take offense at what someone else did or cause us to think about their tone of voice, he can begin to manipulate us into bitterness and strife and gossip. So one of the best, and this is what really struck me, this sentence right here, one of the best defenses against taking offense is for you to decide every morning, this is every day, you are going to instantly forgive people if they say or do anything offensive. Jesus said, "Blessed are the merciful, for they shall receive mercy." So when you forgive someone right away for how snappy they were, or that time when they made a comment that rubbed you the wrong way, or you're setting the stage for your own forgiveness. And let's be honest, most of us have had something slip out of our mouth and needed some grace afterwards. And it was like this aha moment for me. And like you said earlier, Kathy, not everybody's going to be ready for that. Now, they may be bitter. They may be angry. You don't know what my brother, mother, husband, son, whatever did. And you're right, I don't. I only know what my nephew and my sister have done. And the choice and the way they chose to end their lives violently for my nephew, and for my sister with drugs. Just see ya. And so, and I think women have a tendency to be less violent in their endings in that way than men do. Men are just, they want to make sure they're not, it's done, it's final. So, and we're not laughing at this, you guys. We're experiencing it. We feel it. There's a day that goes by that my sister's not on my mind. There isn't a day that goes by that I don't wished I could hear her voice again. Sorry. Even though she and I weren't in touch all the time. But, and I have to show you, because I keep this picture of her in her memorial in front of me all the time.
Oh, yeah. Beautiful picture.
Because I miss the fact that I can't call her, can't talk to her. But I love her, and I don't want to hold on to all of the woulda, coulda, shouldas, because I'm still alive. And there are still people that need to be supported and served and loved too, And so, like you, we are kindred, Kathy, in so many ways, but now in this way as well. And I have found out so many others that we are also, and I just want to encourage them through it, and not without judgment with anybody.
Yeah.
So that's our story, and I'm still obviously processing. So, but every day, a day to get up and say, I I forgive somebody or myself. Ourselves have to be forgiven too. We can't just say, well, I forgive so-and-so, because if we're forgiven, shouldn't we receive that forgiveness too and have mercy for others? Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I know your story is similar to mine.
Yeah. Yeah. So my story is much older. My sister passed in 2001, and it was untimely and it was unexpected. It was great too, because the night before, my mom was insisting that the family get together for a family dinner. And some people said, "Oh, I got this to do, I got that to do," and she put her foot down. She was like, "No, everyone needs to come for dinner." And so we did. We all showed up. We had an awesome time, like we always did. We're just a goofy family together, and thank God she put her foot down, because it was the following morning when my husband and I ended up staying at my mom's house, and I was going to go on a business trip. And so I said, "Mom, come with me. I'm going to go buy some clothes." And I remember we were driving down the street and noticed that the street in front of my sister's house was shut down. And there were fire trucks and this and that there. And we thought,
they live close together, your mom and your sister? Oh,
they live pretty close together. And so we carried on, went shopping. We came back the same way, and the street was still shut down. And I said, "That's really weird. I wonder if there was a fatality." And so I was going around another way. I was almost going to drive and stop by to see, but something told me just to go back to my mom's and take her there. So I thought, I said, "I'll just call Chris." He's my sister. And her daughter answered. And I said, "What's going on in front? There was this, fire truck and this and that, and it's been shut down for so long." She goes, "Oh yeah, there's something going on out there." And I said, "Oh, well, it must be a fatality because it's been shut down so long." And she goes, "Oh yeah, I'm not too sure." This was her older daughter who had just started her first year of college. She still lived at home with her. And I said, "Okay." And I didn't even think to ask to talk to my sister or anything. I just took it as that. And I went home. My husband and I went up the hill to visit his family. And that's one thing I had to work with too, is forgiving my niece. Is she knew what happened. She just wasn't being upfront with me.
Wow, why? Odd.
Yeah, I'm not too sure what was going on exactly there, but it wasn't until we got home late that evening that I had, we didn't have cell phones at the time. And there was all those messages going on over and over. Like, why are all these people calling me? And so that's when I was like,
And
yeah. And they said, "Your sister, she's been hit by a bus." And I thought, "Oh my God, where is she? A hospital?" Oh my God. And they said, "No, she's gone." And I lost it. From that point on, life changed.
Yes.
Extremely. And so it was that started my turning inward. And we were 10 years apart, but we were extremely close. So close. We just did so much together. And people often said that we were, "Gosh, are you guys twins?" And I'm like, I don't know if I should take that as an insult or you should take it as a compliment, because you're 10 years older than we just, but it was just, for me, I just didn't deal with it well. And so I alienated myself, and it was exhausting to be around people. I just didn't want to be around people. And then 5 years later, my brother, who was also 43, passed away. They said from an accidental overdose is what the autopsy showed. I immediately thought suicide, because my brother was bipolar. He talked about suicide often. It was just, when he was up really happy high, but when he was down, it was very difficult, and he often talked about suicide. So, and it happened at the same age as my sister. It was on my mom's birthday. It was just all these things. And I got so many emotions. I was at a business trip in Vegas when I got the phone call. And, and I had to deal with that too, because I was talking to my mom that morning, telling her happy birthday. And, she says, Stephen, he just still hasn't gotten out of bed. He was staying with her at the time. And I said, Mom, we really need to do, what's it called? We get a bunch of people together.
An intervention?
Yes, thank you. Lost it. I just told him, I said, Mom, we really need to make it happen. We keep talking about it, but we don't do it. We knew that since his motorcycle accident years ago, he was addicted to these prescription drugs, and he got them easily. I mean, his doctors were just handing them out.
Yeah, same with my sister. Same.
Yeah, it's obvious that, to me, it has to be obvious when they're using faster than what they should. But in any case, I said, we got to do this. She says, yeah, we're going to do this. And he was still alive, because she said she went in there earlier and talked to him. He was in bed. But it was later on that afternoon that she found him. And he took a lot of pills, like handfuls of pills. And so whether it was an accident or intentional, we'll never know. But it's the feelings that, you go through. There's anger. There's sadness, missing. So yeah, and for me, it took 11 years. It took 11 years for me. I was in that space.
So when I met you, you were still...
I was still there. Yeah, I was still there. And I thought that's just how my life was going to be. I didn't see any way out of it, no matter what I tried. Counseling, I prayed every day. I remember just driving and I just want that sense of peace, that sense of it's going to be okay. I wanted that all the time. God, I didn't think this would come up being so long ago.
Yeah, I didn't think so either for me, but yes, it does.
Woo! But yeah, so it's just like I was like, this is me. This is just how it is. And I was there for a long time, so I didn't think there was any way out. But there is a way of healing, and there is a process. And so what did you do?
What I've been doing, you know what, I'm going to turn on the light because I feel like I'm sitting like, okay, hang on, I'm not going away, I promise. I'm down here on the floor. I'm back. Well, it was a little bit lighter that way, so it helps just a tad anyway. What I did was interesting, and Kathy, I don't know if you can relate to this, but I think part of us feels like the whole world should be grieving with us when you're going through it initially. I'm sad. It's on my mind. How come everybody's not paying attention? I need support. I need encouragement. And yet, everybody has their own lives and their own stuff to deal with and their own issues. And everyone has junk in their lives. Maybe not deaths and stuff like this every day. Hopefully not, unless you're in a war. But it's there, or in certain situations. But for the most part, especially here in the Western world, we're just dealing with our lives. And for some reason, I think I had shared something on my timeline on Facebook, and Young Living Distributor, who is a leader, sent me. she sent me a message. Was crying with me. That's all we all want, right? Someone to cry with us, someone to hold our hand, or just to shoulder with, or to lean on and say, I hear you. I don't maybe understand, but I'm here for you. And sent me a card. Lots of people sent cards over time, over the past month. I've gotten cards, not right away. We wanted it all right then. I don't know if you felt that same way, but it was just like, how do I let go of this? And she sent me something that she had to have known that I had the same essential oils for. I found out later I didn't have frankincense. The major ingredient, right? But so it was even a more of a generous thing that she did. But that's what happened. I had been praying and crying every day. And she made up this bottle, and everybody would go, how can this possibly help you through this horrible grief? I didn't qualify it in my mind. I didn't, it was kind of like the way the animals are. They just receive. I didn't say anything. I just thought, how sweet. And the bottle was full. As you can see, it's almost gone in a month, right? And what she used in it was these oils. She put cypress and the Joy blend. I don't know how many drops of each or anything, and I can smell each individual oil in this. It was, and frankincense, of course. You know, that's the spiritual oil, and it's kind of like an oil for so many things. And then she filled up the rest of this with some, B6. Or I was thinking you could use fractionated coconut oil or something if you have a nut oil problem, right, Kathy? Because there's some nut oils in this, like almond and sesame, grape, so forth. But she sent this to me. She goes, she didn't tell me anything other than for my own morning, I just like to, apply this to my wrists and to my chest. And I said, okay, thank you. And I cried and I bawled, actually. And I don't know, I carried this around with me in my pocket, wherever. And it just, every time I started to feel this overwhelming, can't stand it, my eyes were below my eyes were just chapped from crying so much, red. Yeah. And swollen, and just couldn't even think of her. So I just would grab this and apply, and I'm still doing this. And I've got more, so I can make more. That's what I've done, to be honest with you. That and looking to forgiveness, looking to, those things. I have come to the conclusion that the most important things in life are love and forgiveness. And, because I want mercy in my life, I want forgiveness from others. I need to give it. And I don't always, I get stuck in this negative cycle in my head and the emotions and the grief. And then it becomes tangible, because everything we're thinking and all of that. So I really do believe I was not even thinking about that oil doing anything other than just because I use aromatherapy as my primary everything, right? For everything, to support my body systems, to support my, thoughts, emotions, and everything. I was just saying, okay, what can it hurt, right? All day long, just almost like an anointing all the time. And I noticed when I didn't use it, I remember one day I had forgotten it, and I was feeling so down, and I went, oh, well, let me go grab the bottle, and, and with it, I would cry, and then within minutes I was okay. And I think just it was almost like my brain being hardwired, the neurons, everything being rewired to say, forgive and move on. You've got to live. You have got to, you're still here. You still have today. And so out of that has come all of these things, Kathy, like us co-creating classes together. And I'm not just on Blab, but wanting to do a new podcast that encourages people, which is something I love doing anyway, because I need encouragement. And I think the people who need encouragement the most are the ones who are the best encouragers, because you know how much you appreciate it. So you want to give that back to others. So I think for me, how I'm dealing with all this is through this, it's been this, I constantly have, a diffuser going. So I'm inhaling and it hits the pineal gland. It hits the limbic region of the brain that can help you say, I don't want to think that thought. And something I've learned during this, because I've been really focused on this, is I don't want to think, I don't, all the thoughts that'll come in are negative. You remember when she said this and she did that and she this, and oh, I'm so angry at her, and how dare she do this? And that's me listening to myself. What if I speak life instead to myself, instead of listening to death, to the negativity, to the guilt, to the rejection, to the hurt, what if I speak what I want instead to myself? I'm not talking about out loud, but just, no, I'm not going to hear you, I'm going to speak the life back at me. Yeah. And I found out through my studies recently, that's what we're advised to do, to not listen to the negativity, but to talk the positivity. Yeah. And people might say, that sounds so simplistic. And I'm like, you know what it is? It was a decision. It's just a day-to-day decision for me. Remember her, go ahead and mourn and cry when you need to mourn and cry, and then go through your life. and remember, forget all of what she did and all that. Remember the good things so you can laugh. And I think, Kathy, with us losing even our dogs that are like children to us because neither one of us have children,
Yeah.
that has helped us for such a time as we're going through with this.
Absolutely.
For me, it has.
Absolutely.
You know, I struggled through the loss of my Great Dane, Meshach, being so young and all that he went through. And feeling so inadequate as an animal naturopath to help others because I couldn't help my dog. That was my thinking. And I swore when this happened, and I did just like you, I completely lost it. I was hysterical. I was screaming and crying and no, this can't be true. It's still surreal to me. I can't go to that dark, dark, dark place again. I have things to live for. I have a life still. And people that depend on me to be there for them in our school, you know, and work. And I want to be there for them. Yeah. But I want to be present for myself too. And I don't want to go to the darkest place she went because I know I heard and saw from my niece, who was her daughter, who found her, what she left, the notes that she left. And it was really basically, she wasn't telling us we were number one, if you catch my drift. She was basically telling us, you know, she was, you know, at us in the end. And it was just this extreme hurt in her. And I thought, I don't want to be that. I don't want to receive that. I want to remember this kid that was always willing to take a risk, you know, daredevil, and was brilliant in her work when she did. She was an amazing artist. She could play the piano. She could always learn a new dance. You know, she could, and her craft work, you know, I mean, she could just make stuff and draw things. And I was like, I guess I didn't get any of that. Not at all, you know. So that's kind of where I have wanted to focus. And both my husband and I, Donnie, have been saying, okay, when we start to go, you know, this and this, and oh, look, let's stop it. No. And I don't know what you dealt with, Kathy, but as you said, it took 11 years. So I don't know, because you had a really good relationship with your sister. If that just, you know, missing that person's presence in your life. My sister and I were rather estranged, and so it was kind of a love-hate thing all for a long time. But when it was just me and her, we were authentic in ourselves together. Yeah. Oh my gosh, we had our own private language. We had our own private sayings and things that we did, and would laugh, and nobody would know what we were talking about, but we did, you know. And so we have a great picture that a friend took of us at one of our family parties that I have with me on Facebook now. And that was a true, authentic moment with her and I. Were just in that space that the real us. Yeah. Out of the junk and the baggage. That's what I'm holding in my heart.
That's what you got to do, and celebrate that. Absolutely. That is so true.
I don't know how you have done what happened. I guess your story is still there to emerge.
Yeah. Well, you know, mine was completely unexpected.
Yeah. So
it was like completely like if it happened today, I think I would be in a much better dealings of it, I guess. But mine came, you know, unexpectedly because it was my research for my dog Mischief. I wear his name around my neck because he brought me to
that
place. Yeah, it just means a lot. He brought me to this healing, and so it was while I was researching for my dog's health. I didn't care about me or anything else.
That's what I was doing. The same thing, right?
You know, and that's when, you know, I was listening to Animal Talk Naturally and talking about these essential oils. And I'm like, what the heck, essential oils? Like, and it took me actually quite a while of just getting sprinkled on about it because I just wasn't getting it. But then once I finally said, okay, I've heard enough fascinating things about it. I'm going to have to, you know, have research this. So I researched it. I got a reference book. I was okay, I got to have these on hand for my dogs. And so I had them on for my dogs.
But I did the same thing. That is too funny.
Yeah, but so I got curious when I'm reading through the literature, and it was like, there was one, I thought, I'm going to try that one. It was called Peace and Calming. And I said, I'm going to try that. And on me. And so I did, before I went to bed.
You hated it, right?
Yeah. Yes, it stunk.
So did I.
We know why now. I didn't know why then. But it was, when I woke up, I just felt amazing. All that chatter that would constantly go in my head all night long was gone. And it was from that. And I would take this oil. I was so like, oh my gosh. I remember, because my husband thought I was Looney Tunes with this. I remember trying it on him and without saying anything. And I remember him saying, gosh, I slept really good last night. Really? But it snowballed. So at work, I would go to work where it was just difficult for me because I was in this frame of mind. It was exhausting to be around people. I didn't want to be around people. I had to put this fake smile on. And there was a lot of things going on that created like such anxiety. I would have tears during work, which you can't be doing that. And but I started bringing this with me, and I started, just putting on my wrist and inhaling it, and I felt like almost like this feeling of giggly, I started like going, gosh, I just feel so good. This is like something I've been looking for. Like, how is this possible? And
do you think it was because for so long you had been in such a bad place that when it balanced you didn't like it at first? And I know that people don't know why, because it's not really the oils that smell bad. It's that they work to remove toxic chemicals. They also work to remove toxic emotions. And people don't understand that our emotions and traumas do get locked into our physical body.
Yes. And
they stay there. And the heart remembers everything. So, and will dictate often things to the mind. So, and it sounds weird, but there's science behind it if you guys want to do your research. And, but once you use it enough and it's able to dislodge that and allow you to release it and to cry and to grieve, whatever, you were all of a sudden like, wow, I'd forgotten how it felt to feel good because you had been locked up for so long.
Yes, it was just amazing to me. And so I was just like, oh my gosh, I could use this all the time. And then I'm like, my boss, she was going through a difficult time too. I'm like, you got to try this. I don't know, it works for me, but you got to try it. And so she started feeling, I'm like, really? You feel that? I was like, it was still so mind blowing to me. But
I bet after 11 years.
Yeah, but it was like, and then I started bringing more things. So like the Balance Complete, I was having that, starting my day off right, because I was an emotional eater. I ate just to make myself feel better. And then I craved crap all day long. And so it was that. I was Balance Complete and the Sleek Tea, and I was doing these oils, and I started living life again. And that was so huge to me. I lost 30 pounds because, when you nourish, and I say this often, but when I nourished my body, my mind and soul clarity came to be, and I was able to deal with, and we're going to talk a little bit about this without getting too technical, but it was, I think, because the oils are at different frequencies that where I was here. And, I'm not going to judge myself for it. I needed to be there for 11 years, obviously. It was part of my whatever.
Because I've been there for all of my life until I started, so I was overseeing crap. Get this back. Are you hearing that?
That sounds a little different right now.
Okay, is it okay?
There you go.
All right, so maybe if I step back.
Oh, it's kind of got a little. I still hear you though.
I guess it was just that I had been using them so long that I'd had time to work on myself, if you know what I mean, before all this went down. And also because my growth in my own faith walk, that coupled with it, I knew who to go to. I knew who to ask for help. I knew, I saw it, and didn't just sit back in my grief, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, it would have been a much different
Yeah.
time and space for me if I was already knowing what I know now. And, that's why it's just like, I mean, it is, I just feel like people need to hear this and they may resonate with it, but that is truly, truly what helped me shift. And I still love my brother and sister, and I think of them and I celebrate their life.
Yes.
It is a part of me now. And it's just been a part
now, because I know everything, and the funny thing is my parents were grief counselors at one time, in their church, the death and dying thing. So I learned a lot from them. But they did say that, you go through these things. So I know. I don't know if I'll get back here, so I'm going to
Yeah, it's I think that when we go through this grieving process, and it is different for everyone, the timing's different for everyone, but it's like you got to go through that to where that contrast is so pronounced that it causes you to have a more wanting for that peace, in that sense of calm and well-being. That starts talking louder. It starts talking louder than that contrast, but that contrast was there to help us get to that point of wanting. And then what happens is I think we start matching up with it vibrationally. At the time, I didn't know anything about that, but my wanting took a long time, because I think I just had so many other negative crap things that were blocking my wanting from moving fast enough to get at that place to where the energies meshed with finding these God-given oils.
Right.
From gosh, they're just from nature. They're right there. I mean, it's just amazing to me. But it causes that. So it caused finally this, where, I was at such a different energy level, and I didn't know anything about any of that. I just knew that they helped me, and they worked, and they helped me shift. And life is amazing now. My self-knowing, and yes, we talk about forgiving. I forgive myself. And I think we have to forgive ourselves first and love ourselves first, so that could shine outwardly. And this all brought me to where I am. And it's been amazing. And now learning and knowing, understanding how the oils work now it's no wonder that it worked. And nourishing your body, because that's all connected. We have to, like you've always taught, it's a whole health, and it truly is. We have to also nourish our bodies, because that helps our brain function in ways that help us deal with life and even with trauma, and it's been amazing. But and like, I know that's something that you put out, which is awesome, is the Oily Symphony. But talk a little bit more about how people are going to be thinking, what should she talk about? Vibrations and is she crazy?
The Beach Boys that song, dig those good vibrations. You remember that song?
Yes.
Yeah. California people. But it is true. I'm sorry for you guys. I'm not sure what's going on with my sound here, but I often say, you remember the old Frankenstein movies where he takes the monster and he pieces him together with cadavers, but he's not alive because of his body parts. What made him alive was the electricity.
Yeah.
So he had to zap him. The electricity was boom, ready to get alive, right? Supposedly. Anyway, the idea is that we're all electrical. That's why we're, depending on who this is, we're 60 to 70% water. So life is conducted through that just like electricity is conducted through us with that. So essential oils, therapeutic essential oils, are they're like little electrical conductors. They're imbued with that, and they match our own bodies. And they can go into the body with discretion and look at what needs to be raised vibrationally. And every your organ system, every organ has its own frequency. Your brain has its own. Everything has its own frequency. Kind of weird. There's a whole symphony going on inside of us. The oils will bring it. They're like a tuning fork. They will bring that, like a piano, that's out of tune, a guitar. Use a tuning fork, and they come into the proper frequency, the proper tune to sound right, so they don't sound awful. And so that's what the oils do. They just vibrationally, they raise us up. And I think I have a quote on that by Oil Symphony that I put in there, Kathy, that says, if you're negative, raise your frequency, raise your vibrational frequency, and you can do that simply using a tuning fork like essential oils. And frankincense for me is like the one, so does it. But rose oil, gosh, at convention with rose oil, how we are with rose oil.
Oh, yeah.
Yay, I'm like, oh, yay! Doesn't matter how little sleep we've had, we're just. And people,
it's so uplifting.
We're not high. It's not like a high chemical, like a high that you get for drugs. They high because your body's frequency is up there.
Absolutely, and for people who, because I know that when I was first learning this, I was just like, it's something that you may have to just take in slowly, but that's, when you look at, there is science behind it if you want to look at it. And it's just, I think that's what it is they help raise that vibration within you. And that's what I truly believed helped me shift and come, out of that funk that I was in for so long. And it's just
like amazing. This one, Joy comes in the morning, that she took the name of that from scripture and then just blended that to make, and it does bring, that was the thing, joy to the heart.
Yeah. And it's
in our hearts, so are we.
Absolutely. Yeah. What we think about, we bring about, and you say that, and I looked up, so there's this book here and it's tattered and I tabbed it all over the place. But when I look up grief, and then it has the other side, which is the opposite emotion, which is happy. And then it has a way out. So that is like an affirmation, I guess you could say. Change brings growth. And they say the oil to use for this is joy. And so it's interesting you have that for grief. The oil is joy. And they say to put it in your adenoid, what are these right here?
Oh,
adenoids.
Yeah.
And that's where you put it. And so I thought, you're talking about this blend, which has the joy in it. And for grief, this is the one. And so
and then I went over the heart, I felt it. I felt it over my heart when I would use it. I know I've got other oils in this little thing. And yeah, I physically felt a shift in me when I'm using that blend, especially in the beginning. Now I think I'm just so used to it.
Yeah, because you're coming up vibrationally to match it.
Mm-hmm.
That's such a beautiful thing, and that's what I just want people to know. I mean, this is not some weird thing. It is what it is, and to have a better idea, you guys, this book is amazing. Feelings Buried Alive Never Die. And
I'm reading it now. Yeah, I'm reading everything on this right now. So
yeah, it's just to talk about how our feelings are vibrations, and our thoughts and our words, all of that is vibrations. This explains it so simply.
Use a quote by Albert Einstein, who said, everything in life is vibration.
Yeah. Everything's energy. Everything's energy. I never thought about that before. Not even close. I never thought about
Everything
it.
is moving and spinning. And so when we think negative, we lower our, did you know that even words that we say will lower our vibration or raise our vibration? When we're saying negative words, people say, well, what's wrong? You know, that's adult language. Yeah, but it does lower your frequency. Believe it or not. It does.
I know it does. And I know I do use it.
Well, a lot of people.
Yeah, sometimes it comes out in positive.
I know, it's just part of your talk. But, you know, I am so conscious of that now. I'm like, okay, I better go get an oil to raise me back up. Come out of my mouth, you know, and then conscious of that. And I think when you become conscious of that, you're thinking, no, I want to be nature. And the difference between happy and joyful is that happy is just like a joyful, I think, is a state of being. Yeah. Whereas happy is just an emotion in the moment, you know, a feeling that you're having in the moment. So I wanted to stay in that joyful state. Doesn't mean that I'm always happy. Not unhappy. Normal, you know, I'm just.
Mm-hmm. It's just about. It's just about being aware. You get in the practice of being aware of your emotions and your thoughts, and when we're you know, supporting ourselves naturally, and you know, doing all those things that can make our mind maybe not adjust to this trauma that we've gone through, you know, just bringing that into your everyday. And one thing in here, I think I have it here. And just, you know, just being aware and just making that shift and change. Like, I can't remember who it was I was listening to, but like even when we do that, that self-talk, and if we're just like, even that, you know, it's like, oh gosh, I'm such an idiot, I didn't do blah,
right.
blah, blah.
Yeah, saying that.
Sometimes I'll do that and I won't catch my husband will catch me. He goes, what are you doing with that self-talk? You know, because he hears me yucking on about it. I got to make sure, you know. But I was listening to someone and they were saying, when you do that, so watch your mouth. Watch your mouth, because what comes out, that, like you were saying, vibrationally, it's going to change things.
But there are other words that will raise your vibration. Now, I use, you know, when you're using them in conjunction, for example, in prayer with an oil, the power of the two together are amazing. And you know what? There are naysayers. There are people, whatever. You know what? I know. Yeah. It ain't open for debate as far as I'm concerned. I know. And when you know that you know that you know, ain't nothing to say about that. You just know. And I'm, you know, I'm like you, Kathy. When I first started looking into this, I was like, this all woo-woo stuff. But when I started putting it together with what I have learned from Scripture in my faith, it came together, because it's all in there. It's all in there about our thoughts and our emotion. It's all in there. And then, you know, science is proving it out now. All these years later, science is coming, you know, finally to. I think science is just catching up.
Yeah.
And I'm talking about authentic science. There's also, you know, bought and paid for agendaized science too. But I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the real authentic science. And there are still real authentic scientists out there wanting to be improved and teach us new things about this world we live in and about ourselves.
Absolutely.
So choosing to look at that. There's so much dark and ugliness in this world already. And this topic alone is dark and ugly to a lot of people. I've heard a lot of things. Oh, they couldn't help it. Oh, they were in so much pain. You know what? My attitude, I'm going to be candid. We're all in pain. We all have issues. We don't all choose to check out. Some have much worse and some have a lot less and still choose that. The thing is that when I look at what was left behind and for the reasons that I have been put together and pieced together through conversations, any one of us that. And I'm not choosing that. I'm choosing to live for as long as I have on this earth. It could just be today. That's all any of us have is today anyway, right?
Yeah.
Why not appreciate that new day, that day? And it inspired in me to want to start a podcast, you know, because I'm better on audio than video presentation. Kind of freaks me out a little bit, right? To be able to just get on there and speak it out to whatever's going on in, that I can share that would support somebody through whatever, you know, to refocus our thoughts.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's a choice to choose different thoughts and
Vibrationally, you know. And I really do think that Brian Wilson, when he wrote that song, he held things around him. I don't know if you've seen his story. People would say he was weird. He was on a lot of drugs and stuff, but I think he was so tuned in to everything around him, felt stuff that the rest of us don't. And so he felt the vibrations. I can feel vibrations in the ground when I'm outside and stuff that are man-made. Yeah. I can tell the difference between the natural and the man-made. The man-made ones make me just like kind of nervous, you know, almost like a high-strung horse, kind of, you know. And so this helps center me.
Absolutely, yeah. And like you were saying, that this subject is commonly known as a dark subject, but what we want to bring to it here is the uplifting side of it.
Right.
The other side of it, because there is getting through it, and it's not saying anyone's right or wrong. It's saying that there is hope. There is hope,
and hope, and there are choices that we all make. Yeah. And I don't think that we are the sum. You know, there's quotes that have been said, "We are the sum total of our choices." I don't think so. I think that we are more than that, and I think that for those of I don't think of myself so much as a survivor as somebody who is left in the wake of the aftermath of the tsunami that hit us. You know, it was a tsunami for you, and it was for me too. And what do we do with the tsunami? You pick up and you put, you know, things will never be the same again after that. It leaves devastation. But out of devastation, out of ashes, like a volcano or whatever, comes creativity. We can take the darkness and the ugliness and make it into something we can give back.
Absolutely. Yeah, repurposing it. Mm-hmm. There was a quote that Oprah Winfrey has, says, take your wounds and turn them into wisdom.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what I'm hoping, that even if it helps one person, if one person is encouraged to say, maybe I don't have to stay stuck here, and you don't have to do what we did. You don't have to. I just said it's been phenomenal for me, having only been a month, that I can get through my day. I know my siblings aren't doing this. They're struggling in a way I don't even want to.
It definitely, because when I first started using the oils during that time, it was the month of February, and I was probably 3 weeks into using the oils. Yeah, and my dad had passed away.
Oh my gosh.
But I had the oils on hand, and they did make such a huge difference.
They have for me, and I want my siblings to, but again, they think I'm that woo-woo. You know, they've actually told me through all of this that we've been able to be open and candid with each other. One of the things I did, guys, that I didn't share, Kathy, and I don't even know if I've told you this, again, apologize for the background sound. I made a statement to everybody, because I had been walking around feeling like I'm this black sheep, because I lived in the whole health alternative, so-called alternative natural health arena. Only, you know, and everybody in my family are just the opposite with conventional care. They do some pick and choose, you know, eat some organic food and that kind of stuff. But yeah, I'm like totally sold out, right? I'm committed. I'm not just interested, I'm committed.
Yeah.
And I realized I had put all these barriers up around myself. And I smashed those walls during all of this as I was going to family thing and right in front of my mom. And I just said, if you guys want to think that I'm an alternative sold out in this, you'd be right. If you want to say I'm a Jesus freak, you would be right. I am those things. That's who I am. You can like it or not. It doesn't matter. This is who I'm going to be all the time, every day. whether you like it or not. And it was funny because it wasn't that they were looking at me like, what are you talking about? It's old. And I was like, oh, duh. You know, like Darren Hardy says, don't. I was like, I put those barriers up. So my sister's death released that in me. So there was gift and beauty there. And one of my cousins who I've reconnected with during this and been in touch with, she's saying, you know, we can take these ugly things, because we've had other horrible things in our past. It seems like our family always gets together with funerals. Mm-hmm. That we can take these things and release ourselves from whatever blockades we put up to protect ourselves. You know, in our world, Kathy, we get things slung at us.
Yes, absolutely. So,
like, go ahead and hit me with your best hit. How does Pat Benatar say? Hit me with your best shot.
Yeah, I know.
Give me the best shot. It ain't gonna hurt. Boom. You know, whatever.
Yes. It is so true. That's the thing they were saying. There is beauty. There is beauty to come from that contrast, from our grieving. And, you know, some people may not be at the stage to hear that or even understand that. And that's okay. That's okay. You know, everyone's at their different parts in it. Like, you know, me, it was 11 years. And it could have gone even longer if, you know, things didn't happen the way they happened.
But it helped you to reconnect. I don't know if it did with you, but even my mom and I were sort of estranged, and we're talking all the time now and everything. She's struggling, and like I said, I thought it was going to be her that I heard about on the phone, but it was my sister. So I thought, oh, I need to be, no matter what my mom, no matter what our issues, she's still my mom, and I love her, and I want to have that connection. So that helped me with my connections with my family.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Hard way to do that, though. I don't wish that on anybody.
Yeah, yeah.
Do it now, while everything is, even if they're all still alive and they're doing well, reconnect, and you know, even if you're not best of friends, you can tell somebody you love them. You know, 'cause none of us are guaranteed a day. You know, I mean, your sister, you have two very contrasting sibling stories, Kathy.
Yeah, but it's so true. You know, just embrace them and celebrate life, and try as hard as you can to not focus on whatever is upsetting you with the other, and do your best.
Right? Did you hear how she said that to me? Like I said in the beginning with this, oh, you know, I mean, you know, because I was really stuck in that, a lot of that. And this was like a wake-up call for me. The tsunami kind of washed all the grit away and left me exposed and said, yeah, I want to be who I am.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the best way to be, is authentically you. And I think that in the grief, well, for me personally, in looking back on it, I was so disconnected from who I truly am. That wasn't who I truly am at the core. Like we have talked about, I have absorbed some of that into me, but it is turned into a thing of beauty, like we talked about. You know, a thing of feeling good. And I wanted to say here, and this is also in this book here. So on the back, you can go through different emotions, and so I looked up grief because that's what we're talking about. And so it has different words here: understand, joyful, happiness, peace. And I thought, you know, it's interesting because those are all the things that I wanted so bad during that time, which now I have. But it talks about you put those feel good words into your prayer, into your affirmations, and you know it talks here about doing I choose, I feel, I am. So take each one of those words, like I choose joy, I feel joy, I am joy. And so anytime you feel yourself kind of going into that funk, to find those feel good words, put them in your prayers, put them in the I choose, I feel, I am, and take, well, for me, and I know for you, whatever essential oil is speaking to you at that time, use it, apply it, inhale it. You will feel a shift. You will feel a shift from going down that slopey slope. You know, it's it's just amazing. And that's why I think, we thought, of course, your sister's passing really brought this all up. And, and then I see a lot of friends who have lost siblings. And then I saw, people reaching out to you saying, I've lost siblings. And we thought it's just something to share, because I don't think that people know it's even out there. I didn't know it was out there. I probably would have jumped on a lot quicker if I knew.
You think you're the only one, but I found out, oh, my friend, this friend's mother and that friend's father and this. I was like, I had no idea. Especially even after my nephew died, the way he did, when he committed suicide. And I didn't hear that much from people, but when this happened, I did, which was interesting.
Yeah.
It was, it was my nephew, and I wasn't that close to him. Doesn't mean I loved him any less. It's just that this one, though, my sister was like, all my life person, all your life, this person, and my only sister. And so, because you had the same thing with your sister, your only sister.
Yeah. Yeah.
Pretty.
Yeah.
And now my brothers all say, my sister, my only sister, so I felt like, oh gosh, I have such a big role to fill, but I don't. I just need to be me.
Yeah.
Fully. I don't have to step into anything but just being me and love them wherever they're at. And that takes a big load off of me, because if I was going to take that on, oh no, it would be a whole other mess. And I think people do that in these situations. Oh, now I have to fill the role of that person, or I have to no, just be present and be who you are.
Yeah, because that's going to be your gift to share. It's just,
so I don't guess we have any questions, huh, Kathy?
What was that?
We don't have any questions, I don't guess, here.
No. I think that we'll probably have some replay viewers, but I
think we have a call to action. We do have a call to action.
Yeah, the call to action definitely is, you guys, for either one of us, my information is in my profile. So follow me. We'll be doing blabs on here. I do periscopes, Twitter. It's all at Waking Kathy. And then you can also in my bio there, you can click on the links and you can learn about me further. But that's, today was really just letting people know there is a way out. We wanted to share, saying that we understand where you're coming from, where you are, and we wanted to share that there is an uplifting side of that. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, I have, again, I'm at Doc Kim here on Blab. I haven't done my own blabs because I always do mine with you. But I do periscopes, and it's still at Doc Kim or Animal Girl. And that was my same for me. And then we have what we talked about today was oily. They could learn a whole lot more going to oilysymphony.com. And
yeah, you typed that in there, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. I typed it in. And it's a free course, so you guys can go through it and learn. There's videos. There's, and talk about the emotions and the words and the grief. Not the grief, but we talk about emotions, thoughts, feelings, and the physical, as Kathy brought up, and all of it together, and why we chose this and why this is what's helping us. But again, it's also what we choose in our minds, and that's what I love, is because this helps clear the mind as well, like you said. So, choice. And for me, it's definitely a walk of faith, and to encourage others to realize that, I could have been locked in with shackles and chains on me, but I decided, oh no, I'm busting loose. I'm busting out of this joint. I'm busting out of my own stuff that I put on and not taking on my sister's, just loving her and remembering her and holding her in my heart for all my days, and choosing to fully live life, and not stay locked in there. And what can I do to help others, and to be creative and give back instead? And so I don't get stuck in my own. There's a quote by Corrie ten Boom that says, if you look at the world, you'll be distressed. And if you look within, you'll be depressed. But if you look at God, you'll be at rest. And that is what I have chosen for me. And it's great. It's been awesome. So
yeah. That is so great. And I love it too, because you have the two different contrasts. You have me who stumbled upon this, and you have Kim who had it, and you're just seeing how beautifully it worked for her and is working for her. And so it's
a day-to-day thing, right, Kathy? It's a day-to-day choice to get up and choose, like I read, to choose forgiveness and to choose love over the rest of it. It's simply, people go, it can't be that easy. That just sounds so hokey. It worked for me. That's all I know.
Yeah, it's about being open to it, and trying not to let that voice saying, "Oh, that's just this and this and this and that."
Talk back to that voice. Tell it to be quiet. Don't listen to that chatter. Yeah. Talk back to it with positive. Speak life instead of listening to death. So you speak life back.
Yeah, and just be open to trying things. And you're here for a reason, and that could be something that's speaking, that's trying to get through. At least try something, and then you can experience it for yourself and be able to say one way or another. But if you don't try, you'll never know. You'll never know.
I just know it's day to day, and I'm going to speak back to that negative voice and bring, and life isn't all just, a bowl of cherries. It can be a chair of bullies on days too. But again, we can still make a choice, a definitive choice every day. What we're going to do with the bad and the good, and walk through our lives in full life.
Absolutely.
Thank you for letting me come share with you again, Kathy.
I know. It was good. We good. They left. We said we had a latecomer, but replay is always available. So I think that we can close this puppy out. It felt good.
Speak live. Have a good day, everybody.
Yeah. Okay. You take care, Kim.
Love you.
Talk to you soon.
Now I can figure out how to close out.